This is Julia Bell, and welcome to part 3 of chapter 11 in Oracle. We're beginning with the minimum function, min. This can also be found on page 394 in your textbook. Returns the lowest or the minimum value from the selected field. Ignores null values. Here's an example. Select min, left paren, retail minus cost from the books table. Okay. Here's an example, again, from the textbook. Minimum function returns the smallest value. This is 1116. Select minimum for the publication date, from the books table. This one came and said that May the 3rd of 09 was the minimum date. I want to run that for you now. Drop down to the SQL. This is chapter 11, figure 1116, page 394. Again, if you're not familiar with what this is, if you will do 2 dashes and then a space, what follows after it as a comment. Select minimum pub date from books, and I get the May 3rd of 09 as a return. This one, data types. Let's talk about the count. We mentioned that earlier. Minimum, maximum can be used on values with character, numeric, and date data types. I want to return and go to figure 1117 in your book, page 395, and this is going to result in an incorrect response, but I want to make you aware of that. I'm going to run it first. Here you go. 1117, page 395. This is a flawed query. It includes both aggregate and non-aggregate, and it requires a group by clause, and one is not actually listed. So here's what happens. It's going no. Category is a single, where you got the average of retail minus cost is an aggregate. So you cannot have single, and in the group it includes both category, which is aggregate, and this one, which is average retail minus cost, which is a non-aggregate. When you mix the two without a group by, it doesn't work. Here it says not a single group function. So this one does not work. Here's this common error. When you're doing it in a graphic format, you may get this error. Common error is missing a group by clause for non-aggregated columns in a select statement. And the same thing happened here, is it didn't work. Let's talk about grouping data. Grouping data, page 395. The group by clause. If group function is used in a select clause, any single non-aggregate columns listed in the select clause must be listed in the group by clause. An example, category. Again, that's a single non-aggregate. 2 character, average of retail minus cost, and it continues on, and it comes down to from the books table, and you're going to group by category. So again, this is a single, the non-aggregate, listed in a select clause. You got to list it in a group by. So we did. Columns used to group data in group by clause don't have to be listed in the select. You can include them in the select clause only to have these groups identified in the output. Common aliases can't be used in group by clause. The results returned from the select statement that include group by clause are displayed in ascending order of the columns listed in that group by clause. To have a different sort sequence, use the order by clause. Here's an example of group by. Select category, that's a single, 2 character, the average retail minus cost. We're going to have that appear in 3 positions, a decimal, and then 2 decimal places. We're going to call that profit. From the books table, we're going to group that by category. Again, here's the single, so we're making that down here in our group by, which makes it run perfectly. No errors, no problems. I'm going to run that for you from the SQL line and show you that. Okay, here's that same statement. And again, we're grouping by category, and those are, and that run perfectly. This is another example. Select the title, then title single, maximum of retail minus cost. I want the highest number. We're going to call this highest profit. From the books, that's the table, group by the title. And these are the results that we get. To be honest, that is an inappropriate use of group by. You don't get the responses that you really would be expecting. The highest, you didn't really get the highest. You got a listing of many different things. SQL, I get the same thing. Instead of just the highest profit, I'm getting profit for everything. That's not what I wanted. I'm going to show you, I'm going to go back and rerun 1113 and show you just the max by itself so you can have something to compare to. See, this was the highest profit. Did I return the results here that I wanted? No. This select title max from books group by, that did not work out. I ended up getting profit listed for everything, not what I truly wanted of highest. Okay, I want to now look at the next item here. Is an individual record just profit, not the highest? So again, that's not correct. Here's the one that I just ran from 1113. Notice the results are very different. This one is 1120. I want to calculate the total amount due by each customer and the order. Select the customer number, order number, sum of the quantity times the paid each. I'm going to call that order total. From the orders table, I'm going to join that with the order items. I'm going to use order number as the field to join on. I'm going to group that by customer number and order number. And these are the results that I got. Again, I'm just wanting the sum of those. Let me run that for you at SQL. And there's mine. Again, selecting the customer number, order number, I'm going to sum the quantity times the paid each, call it order total. Combining orders and order items, joining those with order number, and I'm going to group by customer number and order number. And there is a report that was generated. I think this would have been much easier to read in the order totals if I had made it the same number of spacing. For instance, if I would have came over here and told it to do 999.99, because this is kind of hard to read. And this concludes the third part in our series.